Namaste. Welcome to a new episode of the Vidyavani podcast. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a very, very important topic, which is to understand violence, violence mechanism, how violence happens, and why does it happen. And when I say violence, people think of like physical violence, like slapping, pushing, or sexual violence. There is something called emotional violence or psychological violence. It includes like humiliation, blaming, gaslighting, stuff like that. So basically, what does violence mean, right? Violence is basically any act that tries to disturb a person's dignity, safety, agency, or a social standing through use of some kind of power. So, most women, even though they don't, we all have faced sexual violence at some point in our life. It comes free in this world if you are a woman. But there's some kind of emotional violence like yelling and, ridicule and blaming and shaming, humiliation that we often experience. And most often, the response to that is either freezing or running away and hiding, right? And it's freeze response or fright response or flight response. See, we have only these three responses. And why does that happen? Why do women freeze? Why do women shrink? Or why do women want to run away and hide and never show up? Why does this happen? It's because your body doesn't know how to handle this violation. There is no information about why is this happening to me. There is no mystery about violence. There are three reasons why violation happens. And if you know the three reasons, then you can take charge of those reasons and never allow it to happen. And you can predict even before it can happen. You can understand who can be violent in my environment and who won't be violent in the environment. And even if someone becomes violent emotionally, verbally, physically, you will be ready to respond to it because you know why it happened. So let's get into the understanding of why violence happens. Okay, there are three reasons. Number one is objectification. Okay, when the person who's violating you looks at you like an object, for them you're just an object. Like, for example, if you are an employee and your boss is humiliating you, then for the boss you are seen as just a resource or a problem or a performance unit or a tool that they can use to control others. Okay, so basically when you are looked like an object, when you are objectified, empathy goes out of the window. They cannot feel any empathy for you. Okay, and they will just treat you like a thing. You become a thing. Okay, this applies to any violence. The second reason is threat or an opportunity. When the person who's violating you, the attacker, thinks of you as a threat. Okay, let's say a boss who's insecure of his or her performance because you may replace them. Okay, so you come across as a threat, or you are an opportunity for them to do something, like an opportunity for them to feel the pleasure, you know, of dominance or to gain or to even take advantage of you. So there is an opportunity for them through you. Okay. So either you are a threat, and you could be even a threat to their beliefs, to their identity. Like, for example, some people feel that women who are single even after 30s, right, or 40s, um, they come across as a threat to certain women who are stuck in marriages. So it's whatever it is, right? Whatever beliefs that they hold of other people, when they morally judge you, you become a threat to them. So other reasons that that could challenge them is like their own ego and their own identity. Like when the identity clashes, they see you as a threat. So the third reason is that there is no immediate loss for the attacker for attacking you because of power imbalance, okay? Or there is some kind of extra protection for that person, or it could be just because you are only capable of maintaining silence. So, like in case of an office, if you take, right, a boss does not have an immediate loss, like, because if the HR department is weak, or you are in dire need of that job, and you won't leave the job, so it's the boss doesn't have an immediate loss, right? And the team also will not support you in anything. So the system protects the boss, so you cannot enforce a consequence in this situation. Okay, so let's take an example of husband and wife. What happens is objectification. The husband sees a woman as an extension of the man, or he might just look at her like a sex machine or a service provider or a possession, right? She is just a thing that gives him something, okay? And he might also be threatened by her because she could come across as more emotionally mature, or she could come across as intelligent or independent, which is a threat for him. And or he could look at the wife as an opportunity, like to reassert his dominance, right? Like to keep the hierarchy intact. Like in this household, men run the business, right? That kind of thing. So here humiliation is used to re-establish control. And for him also, there is no immediate loss because women are very accommodating. They won't get divorced easily, so they won't leave the marriage, and society will support men. And children, if there are children, then it gets complicated because women think of their children more than themselves. And if the woman is financially dependent on the guy, then all the more reasons for her to not leave the marriage. So when he sees all of these things, like, okay, I don't have any immediate loss, so that gives him an advantage to violate the wife. Okay. So why, when you see violence happen to you, think of these three things. So if someone is attacking you verbally, emotionally, whatever, it's because of these three reasons. You are coming across as an object, first thing, and you are a threat or an opportunity for that person, second thing, and there is no immediate loss for that person. So it's a third thing. So, how do you stop coming across as an object? First, you need to stop explaining yourself. You need to stop absorbing humiliation, right? And like when you empathize too much with the attacker, then they don't look at you as an agent, they look at you as a thing. Because if you don't respect yourself, nobody will respect you, right? And Like when you understand this itself, it should ring something in your mind that, yeah, I don't want to come across as a thing. Okay. So, how do you break from this? So, when someone disrespects you, say, they just called you, oh, you have a very disproportionate body. So, at that time, you can just say, hey, that was not a nice thing to say to me. Okay. So, when you just pattern break this, then in their mind, you stop being a thing. Immediately, they start understanding your feelings. Then they're like, oh, I hurt her feelings, right? Or you could just say, sorry, I don't appreciate that comment from you. And this should break the pattern that they consider you as an object. And the second is coming across as a threat or an opportunity. So, here in this case, i- if you come across as a threat, it is always safe to go up to them and say, hey, I'm not a threat to you. Okay. Stop considering me as your threat. I'm here to help you. I'm part of your team. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to take your job. There are so many ways you could say it. You could try to befriend them. You could try to help them. You could try to, you know, like in your own way, wave the white flag and say, I'm here for peace. I'm not here to fight. Okay. But in cases of husband and wife, it's it gets tricky because it's the man who has the conditioning and he has to work it through. So there you need to think your way out of how to stop being a threat. And if there is no situation at all, then you have to come out of the marriage. And how do you stop being an opportunity? Don't give them space. Like, for example, if somebody is calling you and want to dump everything that they think on you, what are you, a dustbin? Say, sorry, I am not here to listen to everything that you want to dump. If you have anything, any question to ask, anything to resolve that you want my help, then you talk to me. Okay. So when you break patterns like this, people stop thinking you as an opportunity to, you know, dump things on you or disrespect you. And the third thing is that having no immediate loss. For this, you need to keep consequences. Hey, if you speak to me like this, then I will have to report you. That kind of a thing. But that consequence only works if the consequence costs them something that they value. If the attacker values something, like let's say, for example, if the boss has another super boss and they don't want the matter to be escalated to them, but if you keep that as a consequence, hey, so I might escalate to the super boss, then they may feel, okay, yeah, I should stop this, right? Or if your friend, they really value your connection, then you can say, hey, I think we need to, take a pause on our relationship if this is going to continue. So for them, that should send a signal that she is okay to even break the relationship if it comes down, you know, to this. So I should behave, myself. So the consequence must always cost them something that they value. If there's nothing that you can create like that, then you have to remove yourself from that environment. That should be clear. If there is nothing that they value and you can't cost them that, then there's no point. Okay. So things like this. And when you start doing these things, you overcome a lot of freezing response, right? And there's more to it. You need to work on your self image. There is also, you need to increase your energy. I'll talk about this in the upcoming episodes, but in this episode I want you to understand these three reasons why violation happens of any sort, this mechanism you can apply to any kind of violence, emotional, physical, sexual, anything. Okay. And if you apply this in your life right now, you will understand, um, in all the violating situations, how you came across as a object, a threat, an opportunity, and you didn't have anything to cause them a loss. Okay. I hope this was a enlightening episode. If you want to learn more from me, please contact me on my Instagram. The handle is Say No with Rashi, and you can DM me, and you can learn from me. And I teach this course called Vidya Shuddhi, where I teach women how to remove all their weakness narratives so that they can feel inner safety and guard their dignity no matter what happens in their life. If this resonates with you, contact me on Instagram and we'll take it forward from there. All right, I'll see you in another episode. Jai Ma Kali.